welcome to the Bengaluru Poetry Festival, the second day. It's an interesting morning for me specifically because over here in front of me I have, and what's going to happen ahead of us is a very, very strong connection to the city that I grew up with, in Madras and in Tamil Nadu. It's a presentation on the goddess Andal, and it's done by, well, an old friend, Priya. Old, of course, referring to the amount of time that we've known each other. There's another friend of mine, also a poet who I knew in Madras, Vivek, who's here. So there's a lot of connections. And of course, the form that we're going to be presenting is one that's very closely associated with Tamil Nadu and South India, Bharatanatyam. I'm going to just, because there's nothing that I can say about this that will throw more light than what Priya can say. So I'm just going to hand over to Priya to start. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you also for being here on a Sunday morning at this time to share my encounter with Andal, basically to hear her. May we have the calendar picture, please? What I'm going to do is take you through some of her songs and some of the translations we've done of Andal's first work, which is the Tirupave, which was written when she was 13. It was composed when she was 13. Her second work, the Nachar Tirumurai, which is called the Sacred Songs of the Goddess, was written or sung around the time she was 15 or 16. And definitely, before she entered her 17th year, she had merged with her beloved, the god Sri Ranganatha, in the temple of Sri Rangam. Now, what's also important to remember is that Andal wrote in Shen Tamil, classical Tamil. So to read her, you follow a 17th century commentary by Periyavachikar Pillai. Also, I think it's good to read deeply into Sangam poetics of the Sangam era about 2nd century BCE to 2nd century CE, because though she lived in the 9th century, she wrote in the style of the Sangam era poets. And what we found amazing about Andal, we worked on it for about 8 years, this book called The Autobiography of a Goddess, was that she presents herself to us in many very different ways. She's a poet, she's a mystic goddess, she's a teen icon, because when girls have their coming of age ceremony, whatever else they dress up as and be photographed as Kashmiri Belle or Geisha, they will have one photograph as Andal. And why is this so? Because Andal is the perfect bride. She got the beloved who she wanted, Narayana, Sri Krishna. And you have her translated differently in film, in dances you will see, in the temple chantings. So you have this whole array, as it were, of different Andals coming to you. And so we too, in our translations, have used various registers in order to share her, receive her and share her with you. One point about the book that I must mention earlier. It is a book of collaboration, but we did not translate the same poem together. We often give two varieties of the poem, two variations. And why is this so? Because we have Ravi's version and my version. Sometimes only I do a song, sometimes only he does one. Why was this so? It was very simple. We both had different Andals, as each and every one of you have different Andals. The way you conceive her, the way you receive her, the way you surrender yourself to her. And we thought, Andal speaks to us today, for she aligns herself with the cosmic harmonies. And she asks us who want to align ourselves to join her in her song. The calendar picture, please. Oh, it's there. Right, so now you know you have the calendar picture there, which briefly gives you the story of Andal. This is the Perumal Padam. This is, here you see Andal. In one corner, you will see her as a foundling, found in the Tulsi Grove by her father, Periyalvar, also an Alvar saint. On the other corner, there she is wearing the garland meant for the god. Her whole legend is based on this. She wore the sacred garland, and when she was asked, how dare you wear it? You know, you're polluting it. She turned around and said, but don't you know, I'm his beloved. Now, this authority, this self-assuredness reaches out through the work. And she is, in some ways, she might be thought to be even angry. One of her most famous, shall I say, songs is when she says, the penultimate song in Nachar Tirumuri, when she says, if you don't embrace me, if you don't embrace my breasts, I will tear them out by the root and fling it at you. She's talking to Vishnu. She's talking to Narayana. It is this intimacy that she felt, and also, almost uniquely, she was very young. She was 13 and 15 when she composed. So you have a sense of the body in her, the young body coursing with hormones. At the same time, you have the sense of the sacred, this tearing urge to go beyond herself and to fuse, which is perhaps why she always is conflating opposites in her poems. Now, right on top you will see Perumal, Vishnu on Garuda coming to fetch her. And there is also this beautiful temple, the Gopuram of Srivilliputturu, which is her main temple, which is there in southern Tamil Nadu. One must know that this area of Tamil Nadu is very verdant, very fertile. And it's like Parni, you know. You go there, you have the sense of plenitude, you have the sense of space, of being graced with nature. And this Andal uses very well. She does not really stop at anything. I would not call her ever a transgressive poet or a subversive one, because I think that's a wrong category. You're trying to marginalize her, and you are presuming that she knew the social mores and she was a rebel. I don't think so. I think she didn't give a damn. She didn't bother about social mores. She only bothered about, she was only concerned about her union in spirit and in flesh with the God. And she was also concerned immensely with, as I said, the body is sacred, and pushing this forward to fuse with him. I will first read a section from Ravi's poems, Ravi Shankar's poems, which is the song to the choral. It is from the Nachar Tirumurai. And what is important to know is that in Sangam poetry, a woman talking about love, expressing her desire, should not say it to a man or a woman. No human being was allowed to hear this. You say it to a messenger, a bird, or the monsoon clouds, or peacocks, because female desire was supposed to be too vast, shall I say, too abundant. You don't disgrace yourself by talking about this. Andal, the only rules Andal really follows are those of Sangam poetics. Everything else she storms and throws apart. So now I'm reading you Ravi's song first. Or maybe before that, I would like to have the temple chants. This is the way she's received in the temple. This is the way I would like you to hear.
ஊர்வேல் கொடுந்தொழிலன் நந்தகோபன் குமரன் ஏரார்ந்த கண்ணிய சோத இளம் சிங்கம் கார்மேனி.
And now I would like to show you a clip from a film which stars Padmini, the cine star, where she is dancing the most well-known Pashram song of Andal, which is I Dreamt This Dream, my friend. When she dreams she's a bride of Vishnu, Krishna. Could we have the film? Thank you. So you see the difference, the wide range, the way Andal is received and shared. I go now to Ravi Shankar, the Koyal Pata, the song to the Koyal, Bring Him to Me. And here is Ravi, a New York-based poet, who I think, he's a wonderful poet, he marvelously, I think, adopts the voice of Andal in the tradition of the male bhakti poets who would always, very often rather, adopt the voice of a woman. And he manages to get this tenderness into his verse. Kuyal birds from the peppery groves of laurel, pear, wild poppy and nala fly to his coral lips, linger there cooing his many names insistently, hypnotically. Ask him to hasten to my side. The spotless being holding a silver conch in his left hand will not show his true form to me. He arrives through an underground spring to liquefy my house's foundations, to seep into the walls and overflow my heart. Pure torture. Warbling quail bird, drunk on honey from the twitching stamen of the magnolia blossom, intercede to the Lord of Venkata on my behalf. Murmur, get him to come to me. What we find in Nachar Tirumuri is the passionate, angry, anguished Andal. But in Tirupave, it's, which she wrote when she was 13, it's a congregational hymn of worship. And she does something marvelous here. What she does is she imagines that her little town is Gokul. And all her friends are gopis. And she goes from town to town, from girl to girl, trying to awaken them to the call of the divine. But she doesn't just do that. She marches right up to paradise. And she says, gatemen of paradise, throw open your jewel doors and let us enter. Further, she goes up, she wakes up the God himself. Andal stops at nothing. She wakes up the God himself to ask for this special drum which they will beat, and to fulfill the vow, the Pave Nombu. It's a sacred bath they take to obtain a good husband. But once she's in his presence, All she says is, for janam after janam, life after life, let me serve you. When she has everything, she lets it all go. And when I was doing my research, I found a very interesting statement that the Alvars, the Vaishnavite saints, stood and sang. The Shaivites walked and sang. And I wondered why. This was because there were wars, there were battles between the Shaivites and the Vaishnavites, between the Jainas and the Buddhists. In some of the 6th century texts and 7th century texts, you even get a line that says that the Jains have been banished into the caves, the Buddhists have had their noses cut off, things like that. So it was a violent period. And in this violent period, here's this little girl in a tiny shrine who I think imagines, wants to wake up everyone, wants to march out. So she's a bit of a proselytizer there. Here, and you'll see this in the poem. With 2 strides, he covered the 3 worlds. Us he will succor. The monsoon shall never fail. Golden paddy will tousle the wind. In still water amid sprouting seeds, bright carp will leap. Lotuses will rock bees to sleep. And our cows will bear udders so heavy, our small hands can't enclose its milky seep. All prosperity is ours. Come, vow yourself to his benediction. Awaken. Birds begin their dawn call. The conch calls from Vishnu's temple, winged Garuda's lord, who sucked poison like mother's milk and killed the rolling cart demon. Sages praise the primal cause, whose joy saturates beyond far-flung stars. His name pulses in inhaled air. Hear it echoing in your heart. After this, I'm going to her most popular song, the one you saw Padmini play, dance. I dreamt this dream, my friend. And here, Andal, it's her happiest song. It's a dream. In the dream, what's fantastic is she documents the dream like reality, step by step by step. And it ends poignantly with her saying, those who will sing this song of dream will bear good children, rooting dream in reality. Auspicious, drums resonate, conch shells low from lips. The earth echoes music beneath a wedding canopy streaming with swaying pearls. Dazzling Madhusudan, beloved kinsman, takes my hand for the wedding vows. This is the dream I dreamt, my friend. A ring of Brahmins chant mantras, each word ringing. They position darbar grass around kindled flames that soar. All is ready. Then my Lord, stronger than a raging elephant, his hand in mine, revolves us in 7 steps, Saptapadi, circling the sacred fire's million eyes. We wed. This is the dream I dreamt, my friends. Joyous, bounteous dream. But the rest of the poems follow an arc of deepening anguish. And the one immediately after this is Kalpuram Narmo, Kamlapu Narmo. It's a song to the conch, Panchajanya, which Vishnu always holds at his lips. And here she is angry. She's jealous, really, very jealous, because the conch constantly is drinking and getting drunk on the nectar from his lips, where she wants to be. So the tone is sarcastic. And what we have tried to do is make it, this verse, this whole poem, run with smooth melodies, smooth rhythms, to suggest the sweet bite of sarcasm. A point here. Sangam poetics is very, very, particular. They thought that when men are roused in anger, their eyes turn red. So you want to say that your beloved really, is very passionate and adores you and is sexually fulfilled, you say his eyes are red. Women, they pale, their eyes get pale. She makes use of the red. As on an indigo lake, a shimmering swan tips nectar from the fluttering purple petals of night lotuses, you conch drink from the midnight-hued Vasudeva's wine lips. All joy is yours, king of conches. Once full, you loll in his palm, blank as an eye in inebriated slumber, while his eyes twitching open are blood rubies of passion. All splendor is yours, as you possess his lips, that should possess mine. Great, indeed, is your glory. And I found Sangam Poetics also offers you 3 ways of reading a poem. There is the literal way, there is a hidden meaning, a parallel meaning, and an inset meaning. Now, both these 2 types of meanings are left to the reader to price out. So I shall read you just one poem done in 3 ways. It's to the monsoon clouds. Monsoon clouds you roll overhead, showering pearls and water beads on dark earth, bounteous ones. What message do you bear from my ferocious lord of Vengadam, where treetops tousle the skies? As your sweeping shadow deepens night's ink, I flare in love, afflicted, sleepless. Your softest southern breeze fans my passion. Help me, I could blaze to death. And slightly more, the second version, where I've concentrated the contrast. Night-hued you are, yet you rain brilliance on earth's rustling wetness. Caress me with your magic melody. Bring a message from my love. In this sooty hour of longing, at its center I burn my body's oil, a wick flame exposed. A zephyr murmur makes me clamor. What news? My flame flutters, douses. And finally, the shortest version, I think more mine than hers, which is, always magnificence pours through darkness as blessing. Yet none for me, no trace of him on my incandescence. I am sizzle, drizzle, touch, untouched, extinguishing. Thank you.
What Priya has already told us about Andal is pretty much the appetizer, main course, and dessert about the life of Andal and her poetic works. However, Andal gives us the opportunity to interpret her in varied forms, and that's what makes her an interesting subject to read, analyze, and enjoy. It is very fascinating that Andal, a 9th century poet, still seems to be very relevant to us today. If we actually delve into what was written about her, we understand that apart from her bhakti, she was a very independent woman, independent in her thought and action. She was so completely devoted to the Lord that she publicly acknowledged that and demonstrated her love and affection towards him. We can never have enough of her, and every time there is a new facet waiting to be unearthed. In today's performance, we'll have 2 parts. A traditional Nachiyar Kautvam, which will be followed by some poetic verses from Andal's Tirumozhi and Tirupavai. Andal entices a cuckoo to carry her message of love and in turn promises an introduction to her pet bird. Varanamayiram, the popular wedding dream poem, is a composition that finds place even today in all Vaishnavite weddings. The last part of my presentation will be a Tirupavai depicting the Parama Bhakti of Andal, where she asks to unite with him eternally. Before we begin, I would like to introduce the members of my orchestra. On the Natuvangam is my guru, Srimati Padma Murli, who helped in the choreography of this entire production. On vocal, we have Srimati Charumati Shankar, Mridangam, Sri Narayan Swami, and on the violin, Sri Ramesh Pai.
Baby
Children who dance this morning, Nazneen, Abhirami and Avishi. Thank you.